Good evening and welcome to our final video of Unit 6. This video is going to cover area and perimeter on the coordinate plane. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. We start out with some closed notes. We are talking about area and perimeter. The perimeter of a figure is the distance around the outside of that figure. It's kind of like if you would build a fence around that shape. The fence would be the perimeter. We also have the area. The area of a figure is the amount of space inside that figure. So it's what fits inside. And those are both terms that you guys are already familiar with, but we just want to make sure that we recollect that information so that we can use it for these problems ahead. So we're going to mainly look at two shapes, rectangles and triangles. To find the area of a rectangle, the formula is area equals L times W, where L is going to be our length and W is going to be our width. When we use a triangle, we're going to have a different formula for area. Area is going to equal 1/2 base times height, where B is our base and H is our height. So let's jump into an example. So I have a rectangle, M-A-T-H, math, and it has those ordered pairs. What I have gone ahead and done is I've gone ahead and graphed these on the coordinate plane so that I can see what my shape's going to look like. Now I can see that this is going to look like a rectangle. Go ahead and take the time to graph these points yourself as well. If you need to pause the video, you may do so. Alright, so to be able to find perimeter and area, we are going to have to be able to find the length of each segment. And if you remember from the past couple days, the way we find length of a segment is to find its distance. So just to remind you, we'll go ahead and do one of the distances together. So let's look at MA. If we are finding the distance formula for MA, we want to go ahead and set up our main format for the formula. If I look, it looks like it's going to be 3 minus 3, y2 minus y1, and x2 minus x1. Now remember, when we have two negatives, that's going to make a positive. So if I simplify this, a positive 3 minus 3 is going to be 0, so I'm going to have 0 squared. And 5 plus 3 is going to be 8, and that's going to be squared. So when I add these together, I'm going to have 0 and 64, and 0 and 64 is 64. And the square root of 64 is going to be 8. Alright, go ahead and pause the video and find the length of the other segments. Right. As you found your distances, you would find that MA, like we said, was 8. And let me scoot down to the camera for you. AT was 7. TH was 8. And HM was 7. Now, we were asked to find two things, the perimeter and the area. Remember, the perimeter is the distance around the shape. So what we're going to do is take these sides, and just so we can see where these match up, I'm going to put this on our coordinate plane so we can see how long each side was. 8, 7, 8, and 7. So now it's looking like one of your traditional area perimeter problems like you guys were used to doing in middle school. So we're going to add up all the sides. So for perimeter, I am just going to do 8 plus 7 plus 8 plus 7. And when I add that all up, I'm going to find that that's going to give me a perimeter of 30. Now, to find the area, I need to multiply the length times the width. So for area, I'm going to do 8 times 7, and that's going to give me 56. So I have a perimeter of 30 and an area of 56. One more tip when you're finding the distance for these: when you get a rectangle that lines up very nicely like this, where it has horizontal and vertical lines, another way, kind of a shortcut that you can do to find the distance, is to just count how far it is from one point to the other. So for example, with MA, if I count over, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is the same distance I found. Now that only works on vertical and horizontal lines. If it's a diagonal line, it's not going to work out so well. But that's a nice little shortcut that you can use when you're trying to find the lengths of these rectangles. Alright, we also want to do one example of a triangle. So if we slide down here, I have already graphed my triangle. Go ahead and take the time to do that. And then also while you're at it, go ahead and find the distance formula. When you're done, unpause the video and we'll get going again. Alright, so we found our length of our sides. Now I went ahead and rounded to 2 decimal places. We aren't going to want to leave it in the square root form this time because we're actually going to have to add and multiply these numbers, and we haven't done anything working with radicals yet. But for side CA, I got a distance of 8.60. For AR, I got 9.90. And for RC, I got 12. So I'm going to just go ahead and label on my shape the same point. So I got 8.6 here. I got 9.9 here. And I got 12 down here. So perimeter, I'm going to find exactly the same way as I did with my rectangle. All I'm going to do is I'm going to add up the sides. And let me scoot down onto the camera for you. So I'm going to do 8.6 plus 9.9 plus 12. And that's going to give us a perimeter of 30.5. Now, since we're on the coordinate plane, we aren't measuring in feet or anything like that, so we don't have a unit measurement. If you really wanted to put a unit measurement on it, we could just say that this was 30.5 units. Alright, the area is just a little bit different. I want to look at my shape. I have a base here, a kind of a bottom line, so I know my base is going to be 12. What I don't know, and sorry as I scratch there, area, we know our base is 12. What I don't know is the height. So the way I'm going to find the height is I'm going to actually go to the triangle. And I'm going to go to my base, and I'm going to go to that highest point. And I'm just going to draw a dotted line that connects that highest point to my base. Now sometimes it might be out here, and I might have to draw it outside the triangle, and that's fine. In this case, it did fall inside the triangle. Now what I'm going to do, and just to emphasize again because I know it's hard to see on the camera, I just drew a dashed line there. What I'm going to do is just like I did up on the rectangle where I was counting how far it was from one point to the other, I'm going to do the same here. So I'm just going to start at A and I'm going to count down until I hit that line CR. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I can say that I have a height of 7. Now remember our area formula is 1/2 base times height. That's what we wrote down in the notes above. So I'm going to plug those in. I'm going to have area equals 1/2 times our base, which was 12, times our height, which was 7. Right? Half of 12 is 6, and 6 times 7 is 42. So our answer is 42 for the area. And again, we don't have to put units since we weren't given feet or inches or anything like that, but if you wanted your unit label, you would label this one as units squared. Alright, I hope you've enjoyed our video series for Unit 6. We will be working on review and the test on Tuesday. Other than that, this wraps up our video series. Have a great evening.